right, we're back. Week 2, 1-1 now. Uh, they've definitely seen better weeks, but we're just going to break down this one and see how we feel about it.
Yeah, not the start we were looking for. We talked first episode. I was looking for that 3-0 start to kind of get things going.
Yeah,
Not looking like it's going to be that way. Obviously, with the 1-1 drop, the schedule does open up a little bit. Looking ahead, we have at New England, home Minnesota, home Browns, and then at a Burrowless Cincinnati.
uh-huh.
But 1-1 is not what we wanted against a Seattle team that's not bad. They're not awful. But the home opener, you want to win those.
Darnold plays some good football. I mean, he didn't do anything, I'm not belittling him, he didn't do anything spectacular, but I just watch him. He's just dropping back and hitting the open guy. And we left plenty open. So the D's just leaving the middle of the field wide open. And they kept
Yeah.
going back to it. I saw a passing chart a few minutes ago, and there's so much right there in the center of the defense, just all day long.
Yep.
We never tried to stop it, never tried to scheme around it. So,
Brian Flores would have.
yeah, he sure would have.
To your point against on Darnold, I'm trying to find his stats from the last game, and I can't pull it up one-handed here. I thought he did fine. He did what they asked him to do. He took care of the ball minus, you had I almost said Minka, the Jalen Ramsey pick.
Yeah.
That's just a Hall of Fame player being in the right spot at the right time.
They were moving the pocket with him,
Yep.
getting him away from any kind of rush. We got a little more pressure this week than we did in week 1, but it wasn't anything spectacular, but he got away from it every time.
Yeah, he's got that mobility, and that was one of his calling cards with the Jets when he got traded to the Panthers. We got to see him here in Carolina for a season, and he played decently for a little bit. He's always kind of had that Dalton Line-esque player, that middle of the road.
Yeah.
And with the right pieces and right coaches, I think he does elevate that. Obviously, we saw that with him 14-3 last year in Minnesota, which was just fantastic. But I think if you look at the game as a whole, obviously Seattle won. They were the better team. Whatever. It felt like we beat ourselves.
Yeah.
We talked about the first half versus the second half, and we'll get into more of that. But it's just shooting ourselves in the foot. They are self-harm penalties. They are self-harm inability to make plays. We got to clean that up. And
Yeah.
you can't do that. You can't do that in the NFL. But what do you think? What do you think of the first half? What did you see that you liked? Because it really felt like two different games, first half to second half.
Well, both lines played well. I'd say the offensive line probably did a better job than the defensive line did in the first half. Not spectacular by any stretch, but it looked like they had started shoring up some of the run blocking stuff. I was paying attention to Broderick when I watched the game. He was in there, pushing some piles around, and they were opening stuff up for Jalen, and Jalen was on track to have a really good. I mean, he still had a good game, but he could have had a great game had he been on the field more.
Yeah, he had 48 rush yards. He also had 86. Of course, like 60 that came from that one bumble and rumble and tumble and
Yeah,
screen down
he's like
down
a
the.
human pinball.
He just keeps going. His center of gravity is so interesting. He
Yeah,
just keeps on going. It's so fascinating. Yeah, I'm with you on the offensive line. I thought they played better. Again, I'm not a tape junkie. I'm not a tape guru, but what I've seen is those that are seem to agree the line is playing okay. They're not getting a massive push, which is why we're not seeing heavy run numbers. And we also have a 41-year-old quarterback who's not moving, who did scramble, though. He did have
yeah.
a short little
He took
scramble
some
out there.
hits in that game, and I was like, that doesn't need to happen too much, or
Yeah.
he's going to be on the sideline.
Every time he got hit, I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah,
But he kept getting up. And I want to talk about, you mentioned the defense. One of the top things that I've seen is we don't adjust, right? That's been the Steelers' bread and butter for so long now. We don't adjust. When we first had, I'm going to talk about the modern era, and we had Minka. We stuck Minka back there, and Minka made plays.
yeah,
Well, then teams realize, okay, well, we can just scheme where Minka isn't, and we're just gonna take Minka completely out of the game.
Hmm.
The Steelers run a single high safety, so we very rarely play that cover two. We just drop one guy back there, and that's why every team that beats us with these crossing routes because all the quarterback has to do is sit back there, get 3 to 4 seconds, wait for that single high safety to bite on one of the crosser routes.
Yeah.
The exact same play that Garrett Wilson and the Jets scored on us it's the same play that Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba scored on us.
I was going to say the same
It's the
thing.
exact same play, and they
Yeah.
just all the quarterback has to
It's
do
awful.
is watch what that single high safety does, and it doesn't matter what he does because wherever he goes, the quarterback's going the opposite way, and whichever corner is on that receiver is not fast. I mean, that's not how defense works. You're not fast enough. They're
Yeah.
going to get beat. Why are we not adjusting?
I don't know. Tomlin's a cover two guru at that,
He's
supposedly
got
anyway.
Yeah, he's got that
And
Tampa too, but for some reason, I don't know it, and that's one of Tomlin's biggest failures for me, and that's the course of his 19-year career. Julian Edelman talked about it on a podcast a lot, like 3 years ago.
yeah,
Whenever the Patriots would play the Steelers, it didn't matter who the players were; they knew exactly what the Steelers were running on defense every single time,
yeah,
and we
got to
haven't.
evolve.
Yeah, you have to adjust. You have to throw disguise looks in there. I was pleased to see us moving TJ around.
Hmm.
Thought that was good because if you looked at and we talked about this last week, if you look at the rushing attempts, everyone ran to the left of TJ, to the left, the
Yeah,
opposite side of TJ, and thankfully we can move him again. But how do you think TJ played? Because we might have different opinions on this, but I am curious what you have to say.
I, I mean, he was a step too late so many times. I didn't analyze him like super close, but I didn't see him making a whole lot of noise for the defense. I noticed Peyton Wilson a lot more.
Yeah, I think Peyton had the green dot, which I thought I didn't notice that in the Jets game. So he was making the calls, which I thought
Okay.
was for a second year player.
Uh-huh.
But with TJ, the sackless streak is growing, and that's we all want that backfield and then the leg to pop up. We all want to see that, and it's 6 games now. I think it's 7 with the playoffs, and
Yeah.
that's what TJ is known for. But as we talked about in the very first edition of this episode, it's also his ability to stop the run game.
Hmm.
And when you force an entire team to just say, we're not running towards you.
Yeah.
So while his pass stuff is not where we need him to be, he's also getting triple teamed.
Hmm.
Insane. He's forcing the entire offensive scheme to change. So I don't think he's the TJ that we're used to, but he's still impacting the game. And I
Yeah.
don't, obviously the advanced metrics and all that can prove that. You can get into the pass rush win rate and
Yeah.
all that. I test for
He
guys.
does more than just sticks his hand in the dirt and goes after the
He
quarterback.
does.
It's just
We're just so used to him.
impact.
Yeah. We're just so used to him getting 20 sacks a year that when he doesn't, it's like, oh, what's going on? Especially when
That's
Myles
where,
Garrett has 4 in 2 games.
wow.
He might have more. I feel like he might have 5. He looks fantastic, but maybe it's the defensive scheme. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I
where I
thought Peyton
was.
Wilson looked good.
I was looking for during the off season. There were rumors he was going to end up getting traded because he wasn't happy with the contracts, and I was like, you know what? The way he finished the year out and what we could get for him, and we need to turn the entire team around. Not a bad idea to move him.
You're
'Cause-
talking about
yeah.
TJ.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hate when those rumors pop up because you're in your head. You're like, no, he's a Steeler for life. He's a Hall of Famer. We want him in this jersey till the day he retires and then some. And then on the other hand, you're like, well, he could get us 2 first-round draft picks.
Which could
And
lead to a Super Bowl trophy.
right, and that's what the Patriots did. And I'm not saying we're anywhere near what
Well, see,
but
Pittsburgh
they got
used to do that.
yeah.
We would get rid of them, and get rid of them just sounds nasty.
Right.
But we wouldn't give them a new deal, or trades didn't happen as often as they do these days.
Right.
But they wouldn't give these guys a new contract, and the fan base would go bananas during the offseason. They're cheap. They're not paying anybody. They're not doing this. And then that player would leave, and their career would go straight in the tubes, and then whoever we would put in to replace them would be humming right along fine. And that happened so many times. I mean, if they had traded him, I wouldn't have batted an eye because I was actually in favor of it.
Is there any, like, based off what you read, was there anything actually close to happening? I can't imagine the
I
Steelers
don't
actually
think
had those
so.
talks.
I mean, you never know, but I mean,
Right.
Mika's name was brought up at the same time, and then Mika
Yes.
did end up getting traded. So,
Yes. I will say, in my Madden franchises, I've traded Minka away because Madden is very different than the NFL, and
yeah,
I'm like, oh, you could have a 99 overall safety, but guess what? He's only worth a 70 overall safety. There's no point in paying him. So it's funny that Minka did get traded because I've traded him
yeah,
multiple times. But I completely hear you on the TJ stuff. I think we're gonna hear a lot of noise this year about, oh, should we have traded him? Did we pay him that last contract too much?
140 million reasons.
Yeah, 40 million a year. The media can say whatever they want about me if I was making that much money.
Yeah,
Like it's that Woody Harrelson gif when he's just like wiping his eyes with the money. That's what that is.
So, and then you got, of course, they don't make adjustments, and they're not scheming these teams properly when they're not trying to shut things down that are working for the other teams. But during training camp, when somebody asked Tomlin about all the talent that he had on that defense, if I were a coach, and obviously I'm not, but if I were a coach and somebody said, hey, what, and my response would not be, oh, well, this defense is so good, they got an opportunity to make history. Coaches shouldn't say things like that, in my opinion. My response would have been, well, they look good on paper, but we'll see what they would do when they put the pads on and the games start getting played. Because so far they've done nothing for me but work on the practice field.
Yeah.
I'm not patting him on the butt for not getting anything done, And,
Yeah.
and he did that. I didn't like that when he said it back then. I was like, what is he doing?
It is an interesting tactic, and you can't even blame it on, oh, he's a young coach. He doesn't know how to. I'm sure, to his credit, I'm sure he knows what makes every individual player in that locker room tick.
He does know how to push buttons.
And maybe it's positive. Maybe the collective, to pull a Tomlinism out, the collective is positive reinforcement. Maybe that's the group that they are, and they need that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm with you because then you just get them walking around. Oh, we're a historic defense. An historic defense that has collapsed year after year.
You're making history at allowing 31.5 points a game so far.
Right. We saw what looked like an historic offense 2 preseasons ago when Kenny Pickett didn't have a single incomplete pass.
Oh my goodness!
But when you learn you're playing against when you learn you're playing against practice squad guys at best, I'm with you. When he said that, I was like, oh, maybe not. Maybe just tell them, say, we got a good defense, we got to prove it out there, we got to earn our stripes or whatever you want to pull, because it looks like maybe that got to their head. But what's so interesting is when you see their post-game conferences and their the players, they know that they're not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's so interesting to me, because it's not that they're sitting there saying, oh yeah, we played well, the game just, it got out of hand, or we missed this. It's like, yeah, we missed, we got to play better. We got to be better. Mm-hmm. Patrick Queen came out and said, we've got the coaching, we've got the talent, we've got to put it together. So it seems like the guys know what they have to do, but they don't do it.
Yeah. So I just had this thought, but in 2000, when we were pushing to try to get back in the playoffs, Kevin Gilbride was our offensive coordinator. He came from a run and shoot system in Houston in the 90s. It was 4 receivers, 1 running back, Warren Moon under center the bulk of the time. And they just slung the ball all over the place. I mean, it was a great offense during the regular season. When the playoffs came around, it's time to run the ball. They didn't ever go anywhere. But he was our coordinator in 2000. towards the end of the season, Cordell was a quarterback. They started ignoring his play calls and were basically drawing up the offense in the dirt because his offensive system was so complicated. They weren't getting anywhere with it. So Cordell's just like, you run here, you run here. At what point does pride take over and our defense start drawing things up in the dirt when they get on the field? It's like, okay, we got to stop this, and the coaching staff's not giving us the calls that we need. So what are we going to do about it?
That's an interesting point. I do wonder how much of how you could do that on defense because it's reactive, right? You're obviously you
Mm-hmm.
have man, you have zone, you have your different shells and all that kind of stuff, but it's reactive. And if you see a change, if you aren't on the same page as the other 10 guys out there in your uniform, how are you
Oh
going to
yeah.
communicate that? And I think that I'm with you. I'm so sick of this soft vanilla defensive scheme.
It's
It's infuriating. There's no excuse for these guys to be there's no disguises. You can look at the defense and pretty much know exactly what's happening. So maybe they just need to try that for a drive and see what happens. Because Terrell Austin has the defensive pedigree. I'm not going to dismiss that. He's been a defensive coordinator for what, 10 years total now. He's not a by no means is he a bad coach, but it's not working.
yeah.
And when you have a defensive head coach as well, you expect to have a good defense all the time at minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not working. So I don't know. Pull Slash out of retirement, put him at corner. Maybe there's something else he can do to
Yeah, I just it, the adjustments. I mean, it's just in the second half. You got a tight game in the first half. Both teams are more or less it's just a heavyweight fight, and they're just punching each other around, and it's tied, 14 all, right? Second half, the longer that half goes on, the Seahawks are making their adjustments, and they start the line. Both of their lines just took the game over. They're running the ball. They start getting pressure, and it just slowly we start crumbling.
yeah, which it feels like the bread and butter of our team. I can't tell you the last time I
We
went into
got
a
out
game.
Steelered again.
Yeah, like I can't tell you the last time I went into a game, any game, and thinking we're gonna win this. We're gonna win
Yeah.
this because it feels like the way that we're set up is keep it close, make them make a mistake, capitalize on it, and pray the defense holds.
Hmm.
And that just feels like it's been that way for so long that that's why we don't go into the half up 24-3. It's always close. That's why the third quarter ends and it's, a one, maybe a two, a 10-point game. Like always.
Yeah.
There's just it just feels like it's the same thing over and over again. And it's just infuriating because again, I watched that game and you could feel Seattle getting more confident. You could feel them getting better. You could see them making adjustments. And it's like, oh, same thing, same thing, same thing. Sub out a player, same thing. I don't understand when the run game was working as well as it was, and you had Charbonnet, who I think had like 15 carries for 10 yards, but then you had Kenneth Walker, who had 10 carries for 103 yards. The run game was working. We shut it down the first half, and then it started to work. I think Patrick Queen is a great every down player. I think you leave him in there. I think Peyton Wilson is a great coverage linebacker.
Mm,
He is not a run stuffing linebacker. I don't understand why you don't swap him out for a Cole Holcomb in the run game situation.
yeah.
I like the linebackers, the middle linebackers are the one position group where we don't have injuries. And that was like the one position group that we weren't rotating players. Defensive line is absolutely destroyed, and I'm going to throw in the edge rushers in there.
Yeah.
Highsmith out again. Cornerbacks are banged up. Safeties are banged up. But the one group that's not is you have three, maybe four starting Mike linebackers,
Mm,
and you're not even using that. So there's no adjustment, and it just they get picked on. They get picked on. Again, Peyton Wilson, I like him. I think he's going to be a good player in this league. He's got the green dot. Obviously, he's trusted, but he's also fairly small. He's not if he meets a linebacker in the hole, that line or a running back in the hole, that running back might win. If he meets a left guard in the hole, that left guard's going to win.
Yeah.
So that like I just question that decision making, the inability to adjust.
Hmm.
Because you see it happening on paper, and then again the game just slips away, and we can get to what really knocked it out of the park. But how do you think Rodgers played?
Hey, not good.
Okay.
I mean, he didn't have a ton of pressure on him in the first half, and I think he finished the first half like 3 of 12, something like that. I mean, it was pretty bad. I mean, he threw the jump ball to DK for the touchdown. We were talking about jump balls a few weeks ago, and then
Yeah.
for the 2 points, he throws the jump ball on the other side of the field to Darnell. I
Yep.
mean, that was pretty cool. But he didn't. He almost threw the interception over the middle. He was trying to hit Roman Wilson, and I think it was number 1 for Seattle. He just, if he'd have caught it, I mean, yeah,
Hit him in the head. Hit him in the
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a bad. I mean, he was throwing into triple coverage right there. I mean,
Yeah, I thought
it happens to everybody, but I mean,
it does.
no.
It does, but I thought it was a mixed bag. I thought, if I had to say bad to good, probably 65-35, good bad, I guess is the best way I'd put that
Yeah.
because I mean that throw to Freiermuth
Oh yeah.
was supposed
Yeah.
to be at 40 yards and then Muth drops it.
Hmm.
Is
Yeah,
it?
that was
Oh my
one. Yeah.
goodness. There is absolutely no one better in NFL history than Aaron Rodgers at utilizing a pre-snap penalty.
Oh yeah.
The
Yep.
second he sees a defensive flag, free play, free play.
Oh
He's
yeah.
got that, and there's no one better. So for him to see that and have Muth open and Muth to drop that, but that ball placement was beautiful. The reason that I say I think he did better than the stats indicate is DK had like 2 drops in the first half.
Yeah.
Bad drops.
That's what I was going to say. The receivers, there wasn't a lot open for him either.
No, they struggled big time. And then the interception in the end zone, Calvin Austin took blame for that, as he
Yeah.
should. He ran the wrong scramble route. He should have stopped and spun. Instead, he stopped and cut in because that ball was going to Muth. But like I can't be mad at Rodgers for that because I was talking to someone. They're like, "Oh, bad pick." I'm like, Rodgers is a 4-time NFL MVP. He's made that throw 100 times,
Yeah.
and 90% of the time it's worked because
Calvin's young and just trying to make a play and
yeah,
didn't.
I don't blame that one, but that was a backbreaker because that was right after Jalen Warren's 60-yard rumble tumble whatever to get down there to come away with no points
I know.
when, as you said, the wide receivers weren't doing anything.
Hmm.
And Jalen Warren was our leading receiver with 84 yards.
Did you
What?
hear Rodgers in the post-game press conference talking about that interception with Calvin Austin?
What'd he say?
He sounded almost like he was his grandpa or something. He's like, Cal's a good kid, man. He just, he just gotten Pat's way, but like I said, he's a good kid.
That's so funny. I mean, I guess there's
I mean, there's a big age gap there, but
Yeah,
that like
16,
made it more
17.
pronounced. He's a good kid.
Yeah, that's funny. He's a good kid. I mean, I guess that I say that about people like 7 or 8 years younger than me.
That's
I'm like, oh,
hilarious.
he's a good kid because they are kids, and I'm sure to Aaron they all feel like kids. But no, I
Oh
thought
yeah.
I thought Rodgers played okay. His age just shows, especially when he's scrambling.
Mhm.
You see guys across the league who aren't even scrambling quarterbacks. They're able to step up, evade one guy, and get to the outside and make a throw. And Rodgers can't really do that. And I think we're going to see a lot more of those Rodgers fault sacks when he just can't get out. And you expect that with a 41-year-old quarterback.
Mhm.
But do we want to talk about the
Well, Caleb Johnson, I want to just for a minute touch on that one. But I mean,
yeah.
he's catching a ton of heat, and it was a bonehead thing, but he's a rookie, and sometimes rookie things happen to rookies like that. Like Plaxico Burress, his rookie season, Cordell hits him over the middle in Jacksonville. I don't know if it's a third down, but it was a big play to him. He had to kind of lunge for it. He catches it. He hits the ground. He immediately gets up. He spikes the ball. Ball shoots up in the air. It's a live ball because nobody touched him. In college, it was a dead ball. So ball goes up there. Jacksonville grabs it. It's a turnover. In 1990, Barry Foster did almost the exact same thing that Caleb did. He was a rookie. And I saw somebody on a comment thread on Facebook, somebody brought that up, and they're like, he's nowhere near as good as Barry Foster. It's like, how do you know that? I mean, nobody knew how good Barry Foster was when he did that. I mean,
Right.
come on. But, I mean, he'll get past it. I believe he'll be fine. But, yeah, he got his kick return duties taken away from him. So,
He,
but, I
he
mean,
did, which I I'm honestly, we signed a receiver like 2 hours ago. I don't know, but I almost expected us to sign a running back because I thought he was going to go full doghouse.
yeah.
I thought Tomlin was gonna kick him off the team mid game. But to your point, he is a rookie, and the rules are different. I mean, how many times do you see a receiver not get 2 feet down because college is one, NFL's two, and
Mhm.
I'm not calling for Caleb's head. I think this is a
No.
massive learning experience for him. I would argue he did cost us the game, but
Yeah, I mean, it was still a winnable game at that point.
as I was it Rogers who said it. I Someone said it. I'm struggling to remember who it was, but they said I've lost so many games myself. Like you just got to move on. You got to
Yeah.
you got to move on. That's it. What I loved, if there's one thing to come out of this as a positive, well, first of all, Danny Smith needs to be a better coach. That is not the only special teams fiasco he's had. If you remember the
Special
Gunnar,
teams have looked shaky both
yeah, remember
games.
the Gunnar Olszewski, the or the when the ball was being kicked out of bounds on a kickoff, and for some reason, Gunnar decided to toe tap it as it came down. Do you remember that? It was
I,
like on the 1 yard, the ball was being kicked and it was going to go out of bounds at like our 2 yard line. So it would have
uh-huh.
gone to the 40. And our Olszewski decided to like sideline toe touch this thing. So he caught it, had possession, which means we got the ball at the 2 yard line instead of the 40.
Oh my
It's like little stuff like
God.
that we
Yeah.
need to clean up. But my first point being after Caleb made the boneheaded play, if you look on the sideline, there's somebody there with his arms around Caleb talking to him.
Mhm.
And it was the dude we signed off the street, Jabril Peppers.
Oh, okay.
We just signed this guy, and he's already said, "Hey, man, it's okay. It's okay. It
Yeah.
happens. It happens."
That's what I mean. It's his. It was a bad game for everybody, but
Yeah.
I don't know that it justifies taking that job away from him right away for that. I mean,
I don't think he should have been out there. Anyways, he's not a fast guy.
yeah, and I wonder why he's running kick return to begin with. But
Right. I'd rather see him get reps in the running game. But no, and all around just rough. Like I said, just mistakes aplenty. I don't know what Tomlin was thinking. It was 4th and 1 from midfield, and we punted.
mm, mm, yeah,
We do not live in our fears. That looked pretty
he,
fearful to me.
yeah, he is. He's sometimes he's going for it, and other times he's like, nah, yeah, I just and just yeah, he makes a lot of mind-boggling decisions.
Yeah, that one I was like, what are we doing here? It's and again, that didn't lose us the game. It's the culmination of all of this.
Oh yeah,
I mean, Devin Witherspoon's a top 5 cornerback for the Seahawks. He didn't even play, and we couldn't scheme anyone open.
oh my goodness, yeah,
Like we
that
had
makes it
we had
even
no one.
worse.
Again, Roman Wilson's best play was breaking up an interception.
Yeah,
Calvin was invisible.
yeah.
DK had 33 yards. We have three
There's some
tight ends
talent
who can catch.
with those guys. You got to figure out how to get them open.
Yeah. So, and then it's like, oh, well, we played so well offensively against the Jets. We'll bounce back. The Jets just got destroyed
Yeah.
by the
Yeah,
Bills.
Buffalo is a very, very dangerous ball club.
Yeah.
That is
Buffalo
a
looks
mature
dangerous,
team that looks like they are ready to take it all.
and we played them this year.
Hmm.
Buffalo looks dangerous. Baltimore looks dangerous. Detroit looks dangerous. Green Bay looks dangerous. We play all 4 of those teams.
Yeah. We got New England this weekend, and it looks like, for what I'm hearing about their defense, that we may end up in a shootout with them.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We should win this week. That's of my opinion. But we historically don't play well in New England. But
Yeah.
that's what
Drake May
Tom
is
Tom Brady.
starting to play some good ball.
He is, and
Some
Vrabel's
nice
a
passes on Sunday.
yeah, Vrabel's a good coach, former Pittsburgh Steeler. Like I said, I think you got to come out the next 4 weeks minimum 3-1.
Mm, yeah, I mean, the first month of the season, unless you have a team like a Buffalo, when you kind of know what you've got, the
Yeah,
first 4 weeks of the season is just a bunch of feeling out. And I've always been of the opinion if you can leave September or at 2-2 for pretty much any team, as long as you figured out what you suck at and what you can do to make it better by the end of that first month,
yeah,
get it better, then you got a shot.
yeah. Honestly, I like that. That's a good way of looking at it. I You got Cincinnati at 2-0, and obviously that's not going to last.
Yeah.
Burrow out for essentially the year. He should miss both Steeler games. But if I'm looking at the schedule, the reason I say 3-1 is because that's at New England first Minnesota, first Cleveland, and then at Cincinnati. And then you have Green Bay on Sunday night. You have Indy, who right now looks really, really good.
Yeah.
You have at Chargers. That's a West Coast team. We do not play well out west.
Hmm.
You got Cincy again. Then you have the Bears, who, while they haven't looked good, I fully expect Ben Johnson to get things going.
Yeah.
Then you have the Bills at Baltimore. Then you get a nice little reprieve versus Miami, at Lions, at Browns, which is always going to be tough. Home Ravens. Like that's a extremely tough back half of the schedule. You got to start padding these
That
wins here.
entire schedule's, I know statistically it's not the toughest schedule in the league this year, but it's no slouch, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Listen, knowing what those teams are doing right now, uh, when Dick Vermeil coached the Rams in the late '90s, there was some fan, I guess maybe he lived in St. Louis or something, but he was publicly just berating them. How the coaching staff was just terrible and they weren't doing this. You know what Dick did? Dick reached out to this guy and he said, I want you to come in and spend a day or two with us. I want you to see what we do to prepare for games and look at, I want you to see things from the inside. So, Tomlin, if you're watching this, we would love to make a trip to Pittsburgh because we want to know what's going on for sure.
Yeah. And I love that idea, honestly. Like,
Yeah, me too. That'd be awesome. But
but we think of these guys as like, oh, they only show up on Sunday and they suck. Like, no, we
these
know
kids are
that.
working 80 hours a week.
Yes, like, oh my God, I would never want to be a coach in the NFL or college. Like, that sounds awful to me.
Mm-hmm.
The amount that they're working and the crap that they get from everyone, it's too much. So, like I said, there's a Mike Tomlin's a little pot. The,
Yeah.
the heat is turned on.
Yeah. I mean, even when you're winning, people are,
Yeah,
somebody's always got something to say about it. So right now, I mean, because there's people out there, Rex Ryan was on TV calling for him to be fired Sunday night, which Rex is going to be Rex. He's always
yeah.
going to do that.
Rex Ryan knows the thing about being fired.
Yeah, that's right. And there's other people like, hey, this he needs to go. I'll never say he's a bad coach because I think he's a good coach, but does he need to change the scenery? Does the organization need some new leadership? I believe that is a possibility, and I
Yeah,
felt that way for a few seasons.
yeah. I really want to see him with a true bona fide superstar quarterback. And obviously that's easier said than done. But there's part of me that thinks, well, shoot, we'd probably ruin the development of that kid.
Yeah,
So I guess my dream, as we wrap things up here, is for the Steelers to win the Super Bowl every year, right? But
yeah,
but realistically, in terms of the parameters of what we're working with, Mike Tomlin is a Hall of Fame coach, but I think it's a completely different game nowadays with free agency.
oh yeah,
It's just it's
wildly
so
different.
hard to compare. It's like Joe Green was the best player of all time for the Steelers. It's like now he wouldn't even be on some people's top five, top 10, not Steelers, but overall. The game's
Yeah,
just I want Tomlin to stick with the organization forever. but I want him to move up. If things don't work out, I want him to move into an advisory role within the team. Like, I don't care what you call it. That man has the ability to lead, and that man has the ability to guide. And if we can keep that in the organization, players are still going to want to come play for us. But let's get some exciting ball out on that turf.
I feel like after Super Bowl 45, if they had churned the defense mainly or made an effort to churn that roster where some of those players were getting older and brought in some young blood and paid a little more attention to the defense because they're like, oh, we've got this shiny quarterback over here that can sling it all over the place. They built up the offense and kind of ignored the defense there for several years. And then they got old really quick, and it's like we were a playoff team for a couple of years, but we limped into the playoffs both of those seasons. I mean, It was bad. And you could see it on the field. They were struggling to win games. I mean, they were finishing with good winning records, but it wasn't. Right. It was more smoke and mirrors than anything. But if they had churned that roster then, Ben would have probably gotten another ring or two. I mean, and Tomlin for that matter. But they kept holding on to these guys, which was so un-Steeler-like.
Yep. And that hurts us long term. Here we are just fighting for a playoff win.
Yeah, got to churn that roster. It's about Super Bowls and not hurt feelings.
I love it. Frame it. Put it above the door.
Because when you're holding that trophy up, nobody cares about who you let go that was, they expected to stay with the team for their entire career. So that's how I see it.
Yep. All right, well, let's win this week. Simple as that.
That's right, man. Good stuff, dude.
We'll see you next week.
All right, man. Later.
See ya.